Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of the week, mate. We are doing this. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Everyday Pundits podcast. My name is Nathan, and I'm joined once again by my seethingly angry co-host, Evan.
Yes. Hello. Do I have to be here?
He's not very happy because, as we said, today's episode is all about the football. We got Champions League, we got Premier League, we got United RANT, we got it all today. So this is for the people that say that they want more football. Well, you ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, and luckily the football gives you content by itself, doesn't it? Because of the absolute calamity that we saw on Wednesday night.
But do you want to start with United?
We're going to start with United because it needs to go now. Because we saw the game against West Ham on Sunday. It was, it wasn't the best first half. I mean, we looked like a championship team playing a Premier League team. Mm-hmm. We got absolutely battered in the first half. Jared Bowen had his way with the left-hand side of our defence. They exploited the right-hand side with Masuaku down their left with Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right.
Before you go any further, I'm just going to say that Evan today, mate, he's just a Beyblade, bro. I span him up. I'm going to let him go on United. I'll chime in when I feel like I need to. But yeah, mate, you just go off.
Oh, honestly, the first half against West Ham was one of the worst halves I've seen.
It was pretty
United
bad.
They've played really badly in first halves. I think the stat is that every game they've won away from home, they've conceded first.
Mate, they were absolutely shocking in the first half. The second half was actually quite decent football.
Yeah, the second half was fine. As soon as it's a miracle, you bring on Bruno Fernandes, and in that team, it's like, oh my God, here's a quality player. Let's follow him.
It's like an old diesel engine on a cold winter's day, mate.
Yeah,
you got to let it warm up a bit for a while.
But the mistake was made in the starting lineup with starting Scott McTominay and Paul Pogba in the same midfield. Whilst individually they can be brilliant, together they are not a collective unit at the number 6 position, because
McTominay's not in a good run of form.
Neither of them can defend, and he's playing them at centre mid. How does that? Can you explain to me how that works? I can't. You play in Paul Pogba, who's historically been shown that he's not great at defending from the centre midfield spot, and you've got Scott McTominay, who plays like Pogba with a quiff, basically. They want to play the same position, and he's playing them both at 6. It showed last season towards the end of the year. If you're going to play Paul Pogba, you've got to play him with a Matic, with someone who is going to sit in there, because he's a number 8. He's a box-to-box. I say box-to-box. He doesn't really defend that, but he can play box-to-box when he wants to. When he feels like it, he can play box-to-box, and he can be world-class, but we haven't seen it enough for United. And obviously all the stories coming out this week about what Mino Raiola said, which is...
I know you have some strong opinions about Mino Raiola.
I would say I've got strong opinions about Mino Raiola, but this whole situation, I'm actually calm. I think for both parties, it would be the best thing now. We've had a good 4 and a bit years now of an injury-ridden Paul Pogba, and have we got the best out of him? No. But
no.
Has he had the best setup? No. At the same time, have we done enough? No. But it doesn't stop him from working a bit, but I'm not going to blame him because the team around him are pretty bad.
I'll be honest, the thing for me with United is half the team just doesn't look like want to be there at the moment, and that's the same for a few Premier League teams that are not doing very well. They go on, they come out to play, and they just don't look motivated to be there. But the thing is, for me, when you look at United in that first half especially, just nobody looks like they're putting in any work. No. Nobody's pressing, not even half pressing. They're just letting teams run at them for the whole first half, and putting up basically no resistance whatsoever.
Exactly.
And then in the second half, they come out and they're straight out the gate. They're doing all the right things. And the only person that really looks like they inspire anyone in that team is Bruno. Literally...
You notice at half-time when Ollie decided, isn't ideal. Let me play my best player.
Yeah,
He may be a little bit injured, but let me give him a run out after we got... Well, we didn't get... I'd say we played PSG very well at home. I think 3-1, it was just Neymar scored a brilliant... It was an unlucky result. I think we actually played well against Paris Saint-Germain. We took it to Tuchel. We unlucky not to get a point, but we'll get into the Champions League collapse in momentarily, don't you worry. But when you got then you're like, oh, okay, let's bring on our two best players in Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. It's like,
you could tell they were hurting without those two on the pitch.
Well, you say that, and then the first 10 minutes of the second half, we were still as bad as we were in the first half. In the second half,
but if you look, like nobody makes runs off the ball when Bruno's not on the field. Nobody looks like they actually want to get into attacking positions when he's not on the field. It's just sluggish. Nobody moves. There's there's just no cohesion.
And it's a shame because Donny van der Beek, when he does play and he can show what he can do, is quality.
Yeah, he made a big difference.
Yeah, he's been
game against Leipzig.
He's been really good, but he hasn't, when there's not much around him that you can actually pass to. I mean, Cavani, the experiment was good, but it didn't work against West Ham when you've got centre-backs that that can play that. And then, because obviously we played Southampton, we had a brilliant comeback, 3-2. We were 2-0 down at half-time. Again, down at half-time. Cavani and Bruno stole the show. But we're just leaving it too late. But luckily against West Ham, we got bailed out when Bruno and Rashford came on. Completely changed the game.
They are leaving themselves a lot of work to do in the second half because they just, again, they don't show up for the first half. Nobody, I don't know what's going on.
No.
Whether it's, a stern halftime talking to that happens.
Well, Ollie's clearly doing something at halftime that makes them come out and play because they actually remember how to play football in the second half. But we're falling too far behind, and quality teams will punish you more than what West Ham did, because at the end of the day, West Ham are managed by Moisey, and they're having a good run this year, but it's still David Moyes.
Then Moisey wasn't too happy with that goal.
Well, the first goal, to be fair, I can understand it's.
I'm pretty sure it went out, but
yeah, but there's no angles.
Oh yeah,
that's
nobody
the thing.
Nobody can.
It may have gone out, but the linesman wasn't looking. The only man who could have seen it was the linesman, and he wasn't looking because he was looking at the offside and running down with the play. You can't blame him. But, all these cameras around the ground and they couldn't find an angle to see if the ball went out.
We'll come on to refereeing because there been some shocking refereeing.
So anyway,
last week.
No, there was some terrible refereeing. So that ball out led to Bruno playing in Pogba, who curled a beauty from 30 yards.
Yeah, it was a great
Showed
goal.
his quality there. And actually, I got to give it to him. He played much better in both second halves when he came off the bench against Leipzig. He had a better week this week, but still, he played 3 halves. He played about one half of good football in totality. But there we go. So then Bruno and Rashford just completely stole the show when they came on.
Yeah.
Finished 3-1. You can't be mad at the second half. You can be irate about the first half.
I don't know if you agree. I feel like the partnership between Mason, Greenwood and Rashford at the moment is not gelling, I think, in the way that people
I'd say the whole front three is a bit disjointed because
you're seeing them. You got to give that, and if you don't give it, then you better score.
A
lot of times there's opportunities going to waste because either somebody doesn't give the ball when there's blatantly opportunity to, or to be fair, sometimes you can't. But there's chances that are going to waste for United.
But we know they're capable of it because the amount of goals and assists they scored last year. But this is the problem when they're trying to prove themselves. When you've got Cavani coming off the bench and scoring and winning games, you've got to prove yourself. So now they're like, okay, well, let me take this on. But anyway, that trend of a slow start kind of followed us into Leipzig.
Yeah. Not good enough.
Oh my! It was one of the most painful nights.
It wasn't good enough.
No.
Honestly, we could leave it at that. We could just say not good enough across the board. We're not, but that is really what it comes down to.
From top to bottom, it was
abysmal. It
was 1 out of 10 performances across the park. 1 out of 10 is generous for some of those bricks. Honestly, I swear to God, their tactics completely. I don't even know if they were tactics or if they just let them go out on the pitch and just run like bloody herds of sheep. Honestly, it was. There was a time where Bruno had to drift out to the right wing to collect the ball, and I pointed out to you, within the 50 metres between the touchlines, there was no United player within there must have been an absurd amount of distance that there was just not a United player, and it created a perfect circle of 30 or 40 yards where there was no United player in the middle making through runs. Because, like you said, they're too worried about conceding.
And that's the problem, is that you watch them against arguably a team they should have beat. And the problem is, like, as a team, when you know you should be being a team, you shouldn't be afraid of teams running at you, because you look, nobody puts any pressure on. They just literally run backwards and hang off, and the guy with the ball just carves out. It's hard to do when you give away that many yards. It's hard to do anything, because even if you clear the ball, you just let them run back at you, give away all those yards again. It was disappointing. Is not even coming into it.
Call it what it
was. As an objective observer, it was painful.
The first half was like, the first goal was a simple ball over to Angelino, who, fair play, scored a brilliant goal.
He was on his own all night. I don't know what Wan-Bissaka was doing. Just literally, just left him on his own the whole night.
You would have thought playing a 5-back, they would have had the extra runner and the overlap covered, but for some reason they just abandoned the plan of covering the defender.
Yeah, Angelino literally was on his own the entire night, all the time in the world, and yeah, I'll be honest, the Lindelof and Harry Maguire had an absolute shocker. We
got defenders who don't know how to defend.
I don't know what they're doing. Every time the ball gets whipped into the box, they're just in the middle of nowhere. I'm like,
the defense was so bad, and the second goal was equally.
The second two goals were as a direct result of Lindelof and Harry Maguire being just, I don't know what they were doing. I am somebody who I literally started properly getting involved in football when we started this podcast. I'm literally looking and going, what are you doing?
Well, they just don't pick up a runner and he's free, and then you got 2-0 down going into half time, and you've been dominated again going into half time. You then come out in the second half, you start playing better because of the people that you bring on. But I know we had Cavani and Martial out, so we had to play Rashford and Greenwood up front, but that's a good. They're good young English strikers. Definitely. They're brilliant.
Yeah, they are. But once again, though, chances going to waste. They should have been put away.
Yeah, and then
both. I think they both had a chance.
To be honest, we're lucky, if anything, that we weren't 5 or 6 down.
Absolutely.
With the defender, and then the third goal, if you can go and watch it, is one of the worst examples of Premier League defending I've ever seen.
Bad.
It starts off by, I'm pretty sure it's Maguire or Lindelof. I can't remember which one. I'm trying to put the goal out of my head. I'm trying to play a little cute ball in his own box.
I think it was Lindelof.
Yeah, I think he's tried to play a cute ball to Wan-Bissaka, and what he's done is he's just given them the ball back, and then they played 2 simple balls, and then the ball that they played in, I'm sorry,
should never have been a goal.
Should be cleared by any centre-back, let alone an £80 million centre-back. Like, it was terrible. And Justin Kluivert scores, makes it 3-0. After we just hit the crossbar from a Bruno Fernandes free kick, which was very unlucky not to go in, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But
I'll be honest.
Just watching it, Angelino had a field day, and then a simple ball.
I don't know what Harry Maguire is doing.
Bounces in front of him. It's not even that dangerous of a ball.
He's just completely lost.
You just even if you whack at it and you put it into Rose Ed, or if you whack at it and you miss, it's better than just watching it.
I don't know. How does he not know there's 2 people behind him?
There's one. Yeah, there's 2
people right next to him. But you've got to know that.
To be fair, Brandon Williams also needs to do a better job of coming across.
Yeah, he's lost as well. There's nobody.
They're all just watching. They're watching shadows.
I don't know who scored, but he's on his own. He's got absolutely no pressure
Justin Kluivert's
whatsoever. The keeper comes out, but
De Gea also not the best moment. He could have prevented.
We'll just leave it at it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking.
So we've gone from having 3 wins at home, 2 wins at home, 1 win away, and 9 points in the group with a +7 goal difference to going out.
I know, mate.
And it was all caused by the loss in Istanbul when we lost to Başakşehir 2-1 away, where we were really, really poor on that night.
Yeah.
But United go crashing out, so we're back to Thursday night football. So, mate, it's.
Are you even going to watch it?
I don't know. I don't know where I fall on this Ollie out brigade. I think I'm still pretty much in the Ollie out. I still want Poch in. I still maintain that he's a bit out of his depth at the moment. Listen, we know he can turn it around. The guy wins games. He's in 6th at the moment. Yeah, it's not great, but 6th considering how bad the football's been at times is pretty good. We got pumped 6-1 got pumped 3-1 by Spurs and Palace respectively.
I know,
but we got City coming up on the weekend, and I've never been more nervous.
I can't see it going very well, to be honest.
No, we could be absolutely drubbed in that game.
Well, seeing how good they played against Marseille, and that wasn't even a full side.
Marseille and Fulham, mate. Fulham absolutely got it handed to them.
They're going down, mate.
To be honest, I don't think Marseille were handled by City. I think City were
Marseille
more clinical.
actually played. They had some good. They had some good opportunities.
For like the middle third of the game, they were really good. Like
first half,
20 minutes,
even the first half. Like
the 20 minutes before and like 10 minutes after the first half, they were pretty good.
Yeah,
they had a lot of quality chances, and obviously Dimi Payet scored an offside goal, which was
a lovely
finish, but unfortunately offside. But yeah, City seemed to be hitting full stride again, and God help the rest of the Premier League, because if they start hitting full stride again, there's not many teams that can beat them apart from one.
Yeah,
we've got an injury list as long as my arm. We're in Liverpool.
So should we go for Champions League then? Might as well just carry on with the Champions League talk.
We'll finish with it. We'll wrap up the Champions League, then we'll go back to the
Prem.
Yeah, we'll finish off with the Prem.
Yeah. So, who do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Benzema in a group where they actually had to win a game.
Yes.
What a performance.
Mate, Benzema looked really good.
He had a great game.
2 amazing finishes.
2 brilliant headers.
Yeah.
Brilliant headers. Again, just showing...
I'll be honest, so you could tell Madrid were they're just better. Like every pass they made pretty much went where it was supposed to go. And BMG, mate, they just didn't look like they ever got into the game.
No,
they looked a bit like United. Just constantly scrambling back, couldn't get out of their own half.
Now, have Moch and Gladbach been very lucky in this campaign? Yes, but they've also played very well.
Yeah,
like they came into the game top, so anyone could have. The thing was, the group was so close that any 4 of the teams could have qualified.
Yeah, mate. You know, it just looked like trying to plug a waterfall with a wine cork. You know what I mean? They just no matter what they did, they couldn't clear their lines, and they're just constantly on the back foot. And it's hard. You can't keep out a team like Madrid indefinitely if they're playing 60% of the football.
This isn't the same Madrid that we've seen over the last decade, really. This is not the same team. They're not that good, but when it matters,
some people were just firing on the right. You know,
it's the old American thing of big time players step up in big time games, and
like Modric played well, Benzema played well, everyone played well, to be honest.
Yeah, Rodrigo on the right and Vinicius Jr.
I was impressed by both of them, actually.
I know you were.
I was very impressed by both
salivating at how they were playing.
They played really well, I think.
So
all the balls into the box going exactly where they were supposed to, beating defenders. Like I said, mate, it's just they could not stem the tide. They just couldn't seem to get a break. You know, they couldn't even properly clear their lines. They couldn't even get the ball, even when they're just trying to ship it out. They couldn't get it across the halfway line.
No,
so
they were kept in. I mean, they did have some chances. Like Taya missed a terrible. He missed a sitter. In all honesty, Taya, and then Thuram. They didn't play terribly. Watching Gladbach, but they just weren't at the level that Real Madrid were in attack. Like defensively, they're both pretty bad. Like Matthias Ginter has fallen off a cliff. The German international, he's gone completely sideways for them. Like he used to be world class, and now he's average at best, maybe. So
yeah. But I think they'll be disappointed to lose in that fashion, like you said, after they had a pretty good run of it so far. Like you said, they haven't played the best football, but they are where they are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think to lose in that fashion, to get utterly dominated like they did was...
I mean, they're lucky that they're already through because of the other game which happened between Shakhtar and Inter Milan, which saw one of probably the shockers of the Champions League, with Inter Milan not even making the Europa League. They finished bottom of their group. So that was very interesting.
What a fall from grace.
Well, they were in the Europa League final last year, and they played Juventus, pretty close, and they did well in the league last year. But then something coming in this year, they got all the talent still. It's one of the things that hasn't worked out for them this year. But they'll bounce back. They still got Lukaku, they still got Martinez, they still got a great team. So they might be back into. But who knows? You can never tell with football, but Real Madrid and Mönchengladbach go marching on to the next round.
Yep.
Which brings us on to the battle of the 2 GOATs.
The 2 GOATs, indeed.
Ronaldo and Messi.
One GOAT looked decidedly more goatish than the other GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, one GOAT's got a team that's full of superstars, and one hates his club at the moment.
Yeah.
Full of average players that are young and inexperienced. And Antoine Griezmann, who's one of the most inconsistent players in world football right now.
Yeah, well, you go from being on the cover of FIFA to just looking terrible.
Yeah, and Barca looked terrible. Barca looked a shambles at the back, and they rivaled United for the worst team at the back this week, I think.
They were not good.
In fact, I might give it to them because, there was... I mean, the first penalty to Ronaldo was very soft.
Oh, I know. That was not... That's just another example of terrible refereeing decisions that were made this weekend. Quite a few in the United game. How many yellow cards did they give out in the United game?
Oh, God knows.
Like 6?
They're a load, but...
Same in the Madrid game. So many yellow cards given out. It was just stupid.
Luke Shaw won the ball and got a yellow card. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, this is not going to be a fun evening. I mean, obviously, I understood when Bruno got booked for dissent, but Luke Shaw literally won the ball and got a yellow. It was, I mean, it's staggering. Staggering.
So that was a soft pen in my eyes. I don't think it was soft. A penalty.
No.
What can you do?
That's the nature
obviously
of the game.
Ronaldo's going to bury it, so put them 1-0 up.
Ronaldo, like, obviously does what he does. He scores. The man just scores goals. The man just scores goals.
That was not a good start for Barcelona. I think, like you said, they just look disjointed. There's no cohesion, and I think it's becoming more obvious that Messi cannot win every single game on his own. He just can't do it. I mean,
not anymore.
It's just...
And it's the same. Ronaldo can't win every game on his own because you saw that everyone else stepped up around him because he's got quality players.
Poor discipline from Barcelona as well. Great defense.
Yeah, and the second penalty's
blatant
harsh. It's not... I don't know how much Longley knew he was handling the ball because it looks like he's just gone to block. But,
Well, they were lucky not to give another one away. There was another handball, I think, in the penalty area.
That was different. It was very close to his body and it hit him. So, while his hands were there, but and
who scored the other goal?
McKennie scored a good goal. No, McKennie scored a great goal. A nice close finish, nice close acrobatic volley.
Yes, some aerial action.
I know you were loving the goal originally.
Nice, I liked it.
I know you liked it. I was a bit impartial because it was. I
liked it.
My problem was it was a bit close to the keeper, but
I like them. Flary goals.
If he had done that 5 yards deeper, I'd have been like, "That's a brilliant goal." But for me, I've seen
whether the jump was necessary is debatable.
That's what I'm saying. He had so much time and space because Barca's defending was so open that he could have just stood there, taken a touch, and finished it. But listen, he went for the acrobatic. It came off, but that's one of those ones that I've seen way too often where someone will just shank it off their boot. So, but listen, he got the result, and Juve walk away with a 3-0.
Well, there's not really much to talk about with that game, to be honest. Barca looked shocking, and Juve were firing on all cylinders. So what more can you say?
Koeman is a clown. He is not a football manager. I mean, he did all right for a year at Everton. He was all right at Southampton, playing with Maurizio Pochettino's team. But he's not. I don't know
how he's now managing Barcelona
because he's a legend at the club. They thought, let's bring in another legend at the club. Yeah, but this guy doesn't know what he's doing. There's a reason why he got fired from Everton. How can you get fired?
Look at Everton.
Exactly. Well, they got Carlo. Well, we'll get on to Everton because they've... Yeah. So, Juve top the group. Barca go through second.
Like I said, not much to talk about, is there?
Bit concerned for Barca, to be honest. They're already through, I know, but...
They need a big shake-up.
I don't know if it was because they were already through, why they didn't play. I mean, it looked like they had most of their players out, but...
Yeah.
They need to sort something out and look at themselves because...
Big shake-up, I think.
Yeah. Needed. Well, I think Messi's gone.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's checked out now. I think it's... You're looking at the two teams he's going to go to are going to be Paris or Man City.
I honestly think he's going to go City.
I don't know if he will, because...
I don't think he'll go Paris.
Yeah, but him and Neymar got a great rapport.
Yeah, I get that.
And Neymar said that they'll definitely be playing together next year. So...
We'll see.
So it's either... Neymar going to a cash-strapped Barcelona at the moment, who they've admitted they don't know if they can pay Messi's wages, or him going to Paris Saint-Germain, who have unlimited wealth essentially.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like City might be a shout just to prove himself. I know people. He's the GOAT. This is what I'm saying. He's the GOAT, and nobody's going to question that. It's more just to say there are people that will say, "Oh, well, you only did it in the BBVA," and the Premier League's one of them leagues where there's nowhere to hide. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that might be one of the reasons that pulls him to City.
I understand, but I don't think he needs to prove himself.
Oh no, I don't think he's. Let's be honest, he's the greatest.
Another league, yeah, but. Does he have to come to the Prem to prove it just because Ronaldo did it? No.
Yeah, but that's where I'm coming from. But Ronaldo did it. So.
Yeah, but then he'd also have to go to Italy and prove that he could do it in Italy.
True, yeah.
But come on. He doesn't need to go. I think he's established himself early in his career enough that he's the GOAT. And I think he is the best player that's ever played the game. Plays it in the right way. He's got more to his game than everyone apart from Maradona, probably. And he's a better passer than Maradona. And he can do everything that Maradona does. Well, did, obviously. Rest in peace, Maradona.
Yeah, big rest in peace.
But I just think when Messi's played over history, I think there's a bit of recency bias with Ronaldo. And we kind of forget that middle part there was like the middle chunk of both their careers was owned by Lionel Messi. Yes, he was in a great Barcelona team, but Ronaldo hardly won the league when he was there. It's like, oh yeah, he won the Champions League. Like, yeah, but he got battered domestically, always. And so I don't know. It's one of those debates that's going to go into history forever.
The annals of football.
Exactly.
History,
listen, they're both. You just got to appreciate both and being there and being here at the same time. But I know where I stand, even as a United fan. What Ronaldo did for us in the Premier League was incredible. Those 4 years were brilliant, but I know where I stand. I've always stood on the side of Messi's the greatest, but it's just one of those things. Personal preference, how you like.
So I know you mentioned Neymar. That kind of brings us nicely into the PSG versus Başakşehir game. We will not go into too much detail about what happened in the first night and why it was postponed and stuff, but we'll talk about the game after it's happened. Yeah,
and it was a stroll for PSG in the end, wasn't it? I think emotions may have been high on the Istanbul side of things, definitely. But listen, Neymar did what Neymar's capable of, and he's always been capable of. We know how good he is.
Yeah, I mean, he has been outshone a bit by Mbappe in recent times, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Neymar is top draw. Yeah, when he's not rolling about on the floor, the guy is incredible at football. But he's I don't know, it's just hard to like. It's like I understand why people don't like watching Bruno Fernandes sometimes because of his antics after the play is done. But Bruno gets results in terms of his production. So, but a bit like Neymar was on a different level to everyone, even Mbappe that night. And normally, that first goal he scored was absolute gem.
Yeah, and he's done it both. He's done it in the last couple of rounds. Like against United, he was probably the best player on the park, and he's done it again against this. And like I said, that first goal was just quality. Yeah,
it was a beautiful goal.
So lucky with his second, took his third really, really well, and he's just like we said, he can. We know he's capable of it.
The man scores goals.
Exactly, the man scores goals, and. He also had Kylian Mbappe ending a run of 9 Champions League games without a goal. Yes. With his penalty that he scored, which...
He scored again then, didn't he? No. I'm lying.
No.
Make it sure.
Yeah. No, he didn't score. He only got 1 tonight, which is crazy to think about it when he only got 1 and you're like, that's how good he is. You're like, he got 1, he got a penalty. You're like, well, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored from open play for a while in the Champions League, so I'd say you're a bit concerned that he's not. I don't know if it's the team or whatever, but he hasn't really started firing this season. But I'm sure he'll get it back.
Yeah,
we know how good Mbappe can be.
Absolutely.
And but PSG look good going into the next round. with Tuchel, they look all right.
I guess another thing that it's not really a game where you can say like that much about the football. Do you know what I mean?
No, that was not a game about the football, was it? Though, no. So
I think again. PSG just on a different level, and it showed. And there's not really much more you can say apart from that.
Yeah, well,
in terms of the football.
Yeah, they showed United how to go to Istanbul and get a result. You know? They showed what happens when you play the bad team, the quote unquote bad team in the group, and when you play them away, how you should do it. So. Anyway, so I've got to stop coming back to United now because it's going to make me
let's
sad.
move on. I will say, though, is you don't want to see scenes like that in sport.
No.
Let's hope we don't see anything like that again.
But yeah, leading into... We'll come back from last week for Chelsea. It's been a great week for Chelsea.
Yeah,
they top their group.
Chelsea, that man, Olivier Giroud, he says, mate, you put me on the bench and then you start me going, I'm going to show you why I don't want to be on the bench anymore. I
think if you're Frank Lampard, you've got a real dilemma on your hands with your new shiny toy in Timo Werner,
who's been absolutely god awful.
I don't think.
Not god, but he hasn't scored any goals.
Well, he's scored goals.
Not that many goals.
For what you pay for, he's missed a lot of good opportunities. And if you're Frank, you're winning you're scoring 3 all the time. Your defense is still a bit shaky, even with Chilwell, Reece James. He's
impressed me. To be fair, Reece James, I thought was really impressive.
Yeah, Reece James is probably the most complete right back in the league at the moment. You're probably looking at Trent being the best because of his passing ability is second to none. And listen, you can say about the crosses that Reece James can put in, but Trent's overall game is much better in terms of his attacking play. His crossing balls are amazing, but I'd say Reece James is probably the best, most complete right back in the league at the moment. But yeah, they look great when they play Giroud. They're looking good at the moment. I still think they've got some dead weight hanging about that squad, and if they can weed that out and if he can find his right system, then we might see scenes like when Giroud scored a perfect hat-trick +1.
Yeah, they were lovely.
He was,
a lot of them goals really nice. Again, bit incompetent from Sevilla, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but Sevilla, they're not.
It was. I would have liked to have seen more defensively.
Yeah,
doesn't take away from Giroud's goals. They were amazing goals, to be fair.
And not to take it away from Chelsea, because Chelsea have been playing much better. They've certainly come together as a team a lot quicker than I thought. I thought it would take maybe a year, but it's taken them a couple of months, and they look hard.
It wasn't a good start, was it? We were saying. I remember the first couple of episodes, we were like, we need to give the team time to jar. And then as it went on, we were like, oh no, what's that?
It wasn't looking great, but they're high flying at the moment. They're on a big run of victories.
Yeah, definitely.
Their only blemishes were against United, really, where they drew 0-0 in one of the worst examples of football I've ever seen. It was a 0-0 that was worthy of a 0-0, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game, was it?
No, that game both teams shouldn't have got points. But again, like I said, Chelsea are. And again, I just want to go back to this with United. I'm not taking away from how good they can be. It's just frustrating because the talent's there. I don't want to sound too negative on them, but when week in, week out, they just always letting me down. It's hard not to be negative about them. I don't want to just come off as a...
Well, you got to think of it this way: if you've got a lot of car parts from a Ferrari, and you don't know how to put them together, you're never going to have a Ferrari.
And this is why Chelsea, they've got such a complete squad at the moment that even with playing an old man in Giroud's come on and has looked amazing for them.
Oh, you can't go score 4 goals in the Champions League with a perfect hat trick,
exactly,
and then expect to get benched every week.
Exactly, and this is what I'm saying. He's got a dilemma in his hands now because does he play his new expensive striker?
I would, after that performance, I would think Giroud deserves at least a couple more chances starting before you can make that decision, because Timo Werner's had a lot of time.
If I'm honest, I don't. If I'm being 100% truthful, I think Timo Werner, if you're looking at their 3 strikers in Giroud, Tammy Abraham, and Werner, I think Werner is the 3rd out of 3 on that list right now on current form. If we're on about talent and potential, it's obviously Timo Werner's 1, Tammy 2, and then Giroud's 3 because of age and everything. And he's not, like we said, like when we were watching the Leeds game where he scored again on the weekend after.
Yeah,
that was a great.
He started that game as well.
That was a great game. Yeah, he started that game. That was an amazing. Well, you can't score 4 and then not.
No, exactly.
Can't score 4, but that was an amazing game of just 2 teams that just knew how to attack the football and just completely difference.
Chelsea,
complete dichotomy of ideas there between Bielsa and Frank. But yeah, Chelsea looked good and Leeds looked all right for parts, and then they just do what Leeds do and just let goals in because their defence is pretty bad. Yeah. Pretty bad.
Who's in goals for Leeds?
Meslier.
I remember I said to you in the game, I said he looks out of his depth.
Yeah, I'd agree. He's a young 20-year-old French goalkeeper, but he looks out of his depth.
He looked very shaky, as in like he looked like a rabbit in the headlights. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He made a few questionable decisions as well.
Yeah. So listen, if you're
and whatnot.
If you're a Chelsea fan, you're
laughing your way.
You're licking your lips because this is one of those things where it's a good problem to have that many strikers that can all score and perform for you. But at the same time, it's a bit worrying when this is just my opinion. I'm not a football expert, of course, but out of those three, the one who seems to perform the best is your oldest striker. And like I said to you on the weekend when we were watching him, the reason he's getting so much hate is because he's not rapid. Yeah. He
scored 5 goals in 2 games. Like, what more do you want from the man? He's not to say that I shouldn't be on a bench.
He's not this blistering striker that's going to lose a defender by just pure speed, but he's never been that. He's just been a consistent goal scorer.
Highlight reels, man.
And this is what I was saying. I think if he was still at Arsenal, I think he'd be starting. And I think it would probably be a better decision. So, yeah, Chelsea are going good. They went to the top of the league. But now let's talk about the North London derby.
I said you mentioned Arsenal. Run us through what happened,
Oh, yes. I've been waiting for this because...
Before we go any further, I want to just say Son is OP, mate. He is overpowered.
Heung-min Son is making a case for Player of the Year right now with Harry Kane, his teammate, as well.
Disgusting first goal.
Beautiful goal. But... This is the problem that you've got if you're Arsenal is Hector Bellerin's playing right back. The man is I don't know what he does
Passing
anymore.
Game is not great.
He's just gone from being a very good right back linked with Barcelona to being a meme, a walking meme basically, because he was at fault for both goals if you're honest. Because the second one, he's way too far up the pitch. He's run back.
Yeah, he's a long way up.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to blame him for slipping. That's just a thing of, that's friction. That's physics. That's not his fault.
So that's Steven Gerrard, mate.
No, but listen, that's the funniest goal in history. But anyway, yeah, so, he was out of position completely. He tries to make the recovery. Fair play. He tried to make the recovery, but then he was 10 yards too deep on the recovery because he overran him. So then when Son cut back in, even when he slipped, he was so far away from him that Son just bent an absolute beauty from probably about 25, 30 yards into the corner, like you said, right into the side netting. You can't
get a more perfect goal. And in terms of, you could not have placed that ball more perfectly.
And in a North London derby as well, you're looking for your big players, your Kanes and your Sons to step up.
Well, that partnership just seems like they can do no wrong at the moment. Like every single game, consistently, those two linking up. They're just together.
Well, you look at the stats.
The exact antithesis of United. They work completely in sync.
Yeah.
They make runs off each other. They know exactly how each other play. And they're so... They've gelled so well, that Tottenham team.
Yeah.
Well, mainly Kane and Son, but
yeah. Well, no. Listen, you can't say the whole team. Listen, are they the best at the back? No, but they've got Jose who knows how to win a game.
Yeah.
If there's one thing Jose knows is how to stick in and win. That's what he's done for years in his career.
Yeah.
As soon as they went 1-0 down early, the writing was on the wall, and then as soon as they went 2-0 down, again, Kane and Son linking up brilliantly.
Yeah, great little pass from Son.
It all started from Aubameyang.
Great near post finish from Kane as well, I gotta say.
Bellerin playing the ball behind Aubameyang in the Tottenham box, and then they just broke up field with just speed, left a 4-on-2 because Thomas Partey got injured, and then he had to go off the pitch. Their centre defensive mid, the person who would normally be patrolling the area where Son and Kane and the Celso, they were all just occupying that space. Lovely little reverse pass to Kane, who's making the overlap and running. Just blasted it against the crossbar.
Great goal.
Yeah,
what can you say? I think you've said to me already, like, Arsenal just didn't do anything with the possession and when they did have chance, they just didn't do anything with it. They, you can't if you can't convert all the possession in the world into goals, then nobody's gonna remember that when they look at the scoreboard.
No, exactly.
Nobody's gonna go, Arsenal had a lot of possession. They created some good chances, but they've not got no goals on the board.
Exactly, and this has been their problem all year. Like as you made the clear observation when the game was going on, is that Son's got 10 goals this year. Arsenal have 10 goals.
Yeah, exactly.
As a team, and they've played 11 games now. They're hovering about. They're under 1 a game now.
Well, like you said.
So as soon as they went 2-0 down at half time, you're looking at it like, well, they're not going to come back into this because.
Well, Kane and Son together have almost double the goals of Arsenal as a team.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not good. Like Kane is on a different level.
Well, he's highest goal scorer ever in North London derbies now.
Yep, and he's 8 goals, 10 assists this season, which is incredible. I know there's a lot of games where they just destroyed United and Southampton. He got like 4 assists or 5 assists in one game. I think he got 4 assists in one game, and then he just So listen, are the stats from a bit like you can be deceived by stats, but you can't be deceived by the fact that Tottenham, those two are probably leading contenders of Player of the Year right now. If you're going to give it to anyone, you probably give it to Kane because listen, Son I think is the better player for that team, but Kane, he's got more stats. Simple.
He's got,
10 assists.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure all of Son's, well, not all of them, but most of Son's assists have come from Harry Kane. And so, I mean, so do they throw each other off? But yeah, I think, listen, Spurs are doing what Spurs do. Well, not Spurs do, what Mourinho does. He'll get the points, he'll get the wins. They've walked the Europa League group they're in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they're going well. Complete contrast to the first game where they played Everton earlier in the season, and they looked awful,
abysmal.
Yeah, I remember watching that game, and it was
not.
It didn't look like a team that just made the.
Well, I mean, they don't look like a team that were in the Champions League final 2 years ago. In that game, anyway. No. Now they look on form. But at the start of the season, they did not look.
No, and you'd probably back them, but this is a bigger issue for Arsenal, is that they are.
Well, have you seen the thumbnail?
Well, yeah, exactly. I think it's pretty evident. They're closer to the relegation than they are to the top 4, and they're only 7. They're 7 points ahead of Burnley. I know 7 points is a lot when you think about it, but Arsenal are on just a terrible run of form in the league. I mean, they beat United.
Well, you were thinking after Aubameyang. As pretty much said, like, I'm going to stay at Arsenal.
Yeah, since he signed his contract, though.
But that's the thing. You thought after he signed a contract, you would think, it'll be a big boost for Arsenal. They would get back on form, and they just don't look good.
And he doesn't look good.
No.
I don't know if he's not comfortable in the system that Arteta's trying to put in. I mean, they always boast about this young talent that they've got with Bukayo Saka and Eddie Nketiah, but at some point you need them to produce more. It's all right having all this talent, but just like Greenwood, as last year scored 20 odd goals, but he produced at 18. But it's all right saying, these guys are amazing, they're the future. But if they're not producing on the pitch, there's a reason why they're on the bench. But if they're that good, they would be starting a game in the North London derby against Spurs, and you've got to, again, it's all right showing it on a Thursday night when you're playing Dundalk FC, but when you're trying to win a North London derby, if you're that good, you should be showing it now. But is Thomas Partey going out? Is it still playing Xhaka? Is it playing Bellerin? Is Arteta not what we thought he was going to be when he came from Pep's system of managing? All the Arsenal fans swear it was Arteta who won them the league, basically. But I mean, that was a very extreme view. I'm not going to paint all Arsenal fans with a broad brush, but everyone claims how good. Oh, look at Arteta. Well, Arteta hasn't been doing it. If I'm honest, he hasn't. I mean, what's he proven that he's any better than Ollie? Yeah, he plays more attractive football, but he doesn't get results this season. He's not getting the results.
When Arsenal are languishing all the way down. And yes, 15th.
Yeah, and yeah, before obviously everyone rushes and says, Arsenal beat United. Yeah, they did beat United, and they outperformed United.
But mate, the table don't lie.
But the table don't lie. United get results against every other team, and other teams. That was Arsenal's first win against a Big Six team away from home in 6 years or something. So that there's things where you just got to look at it and say, yeah, it's all right getting the results, but you got to get it consistently. And in the biggest games, they just don't seem to show up all the time.
Well, speaking of not showing up, Everton. What's happened with where are they?
I don't know.
Where have they gone, mate? Where's the Everton we saw in the first 5 games of the season?
Yeah, first 5 games, we're thinking, oh, here we go. We got the better team in Liverpool is Everton. Now they're going back to probably where they deserve to be, if you're honest, mid-table. So I don't know. Has Carlo lost his way? Have the players, because they've had a lot of injuries at bad times. They were starting to get on a run, then they got injuries. But you can't make the injury excuse forever, because you got to look at teams like Liverpool, who've got, like I said, an injury list as long as my arm, and they're still going out there and dominating a Wolves team and they beat them 4-0. They beat them comfortably in the end. But Everton, I don't know if this is just a blip, if they're going to get back to it, because we were thinking, they can challenge for Champions League, but the team that looks more like challenging for the Champions League is Southampton right now.
It's Danny Ings
and Ralph Hasenhüttl and James Ward-Prowse.
The worst penalty I've ever seen.
Yeah, but
okay, maybe not that bad, but
no, it was pretty
bad. Another horrible refereeing decision.
I mean, that was just, you couldn't tell where he was. So how can you give the penalty if you can't see where the guy is? Even the commentary
team was shocked. Like, hang on a sec, how the hell have you given that as a penalty?
Yeah, because you can't see if he's in or out. But anyway, they get the win. They probably deserved it on the balance of the game against Brighton. Brighton are doing well. I don't think their play this year has warranted them being 16th. Yeah, no. Being, below Arsenal. I mean, if the play had gone how they deserved, they'd probably be above them, because they would have beaten other teams. But Brighton are a decent team under Graham Potter, and listen, Southampton just can't. Apart from a great performance from United in the second half, they've just been playing brilliant football again. Because they were almost out of the league at one point. They got beaten 9-1 by Leicester, and you thought, oh, well, that's the end of Southampton, and all of a sudden, they're up there flying in 5th at the moment. So who knows?
Yeah. What other games have we got to talk about? Liverpool, Wolves, and Palace, West Brom. Which one do you want to touch on first?
We've touched on Liverpool, and I don't think it's a secret, even as a United fan, my admiration of Jurgen Klopp in terms of what he can do as a man manager. I think to deny that is pretty silly. Is he tactically there like Pep? Probably not. But does he get a result? And you can see with his system, they've got so many players out in key positions, and they still seem to perform and put the. It doesn't matter who they plug in; it just seems to work for them. It's frustrating. Yeah, it's frustrating.
One thing I will say about that game: Ronaldo with an absolutely ridiculous goal again.
We actually saw a good decision though from VAR with the Connor Cody penalty that was a dive.
Yes,
where Mane goes to overhead kick it from the box. He then pulls out of the challenge. Connor Cody goes down looking for the penalty. Ref gives it, goes to VAR, sees there was no contact. How the hell he got away with a yellow card? I'm sorry. That's a yellow. That's diving. It's simulation. He's gone down like a twat, and he's looked for it. That's a yellow card. Listen, Connor Cody's a good defender. Great defender for Wolves. He's been good, but that is shocking. That is what needs to be stamped out of the game wholeheartedly. Yeah, it's all right. Okay, I understand if you do get kicked and you go down, like you got to sell it a bit because that's just football. I can't bemoan anyone for doing that. Everyone does it, but when you don't get touched and you go down like that, it just brings up a question of what sort of state is the game going to be in a few years, where you're going to get to non-contact football. Essentially, you're going to be playing bloody table football on the pitch because everyone's going to be apart because no one's going to put a challenge in. Has it ruined defending in a way? I think it has a bit, because people are scared to put in a challenge because any slight touch they're going over, and the ref's always going to lean normally towards the attacker because that's, they're not defending the ball, so they won't normally instigate any sort of repercussions. But sorry, I've devolved into a slight rant there about diving. But yeah, I don't know. I think Liverpool were the better team. Like I said, Wijnaldum scored a great goal. Brilliant goal. I think that there was only matched really by Trent Alexander-Arnold's ball for the fourth goal, which went in off.
That was a blinder.
Semedo. I think it was nice to see Salah going back to his unselfish ways for Liverpool, where he just let Mane get it. Yeah, Mane didn't get it in the end. It came off Nelson Semedo and he put it in his own net. But, he just left it. He could have easily got to that ball, I reckon, and put it away. But Trent put a beautiful ball in his return, just out on the brilliant cross. And yeah, if you're Wolves, it's all right. I know obviously they had the horrific injury to Raul Jimenez fracturing his skull, so they're down their main striker for who knows how long. I don't know if he'll return to football, how he'll be, but and that kind of then has a trickle down effect, because then Adama Traore is part of his game where he just runs to the byline, tries to beat a guy, runs to the byline, putting across. That's his whole game. Using his speed and his strength.
He is very fast and very strong.
Yeah, but when you haven't got Jimenez who can get on the end of those crosses that he's putting in.
Somebody said in the commentary when they were playing the day, I think he might be one of the fastest people I've ever seen with a footballer's feet.
He's so fast, but I think he's... It's going to sound like I'm coming off as hating him now, but I just think he doesn't do enough outside of when Jimenez isn't playing. When Jimenez isn't there, Adama Traore looks lost on that pitch because he can't do his game. Yeah, I understand he hasn't got the play to, but with that speed, power, you've clearly got some talent there. You should be making more of an impact in the goal front. I mean, I think he scored 3 goals last year, and I think 2 of them came against City. So he needs to step it up a little bit and prove. If
just play very wide.
I don't know if someone's got in his ear about his the moves that he could be getting because of his play. If it's if he's looking for a transfer, if he's not happy in the team, or if he's just not in a bad patch of form, I don't know. That's for them to sort out. But
Shall we quickly touch on the Palace West Brom game before we wrap up?
Yes, Palace doing what Palace. I think Zaha had probably one of the better games he's had. Probably the best game he's had since the United game in the first game of the season. I think he played fantastically well against West Brom, who I think it's over for Slaven Bilic. I think we can pretty much call them going down already. They've had good games, they've had good moments, but Slaven Bilic is actually getting outperformed by Scott Parker at Fulham at the moment, and Fulham are terrible, but they have moments. West Brom, they don't seem to have any moments currently, so.
I mean, there's not really many positives you can take when you get battered 5-1, is there?
No, exactly. And, there's... The only benefit for West Brom and the teams above them is that Sheffield United are still woeful. Just in everything. They got 1 point. Right?
That's bad, isn't it?
They've scored 5 goals all year. And Burnley have also scored 5 goals. We know Burnley... We know they're not a goal-scoring team. They just defend and they can 1-0 you basically normally. But now they're conceding a lot.
God, 1 goal.
But yeah, and 1 point is not good. And they're not even getting draws. And they got beat by Leicester. Jamie Vardy doing what Jamie Vardy does, getting his goal and clattering the corner post. So yeah, I think that's the football.
That's the football. All right, mate. Well, before I finish, as always, if you pop down to the description box, you will find links to all of our social media accounts. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and slap the post notification button, just so that when we do upload, you'll know when we post a new video. Go and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find all of our episodes there. And cheers, Ev.
Thank you very much.
See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.